welcome everyone to Thanksgiving Eve. I'm your co-host, the incredible DJR Stewart.
And I'm your co-host, Tommy D. Duncan III, otherwise known as TD3.
And I'm your co-host, Uncle Asar Al Kabalon, your Pan-Africanist lover.
All right, get me in for Uncle Asar.
Absolutely. And it is Wednesday night.
You're certainly Black Man
Like
Speak.
man,
If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the notification button, bell, so you'll be notified when new shows are uploaded, which is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. And then, if you haven't already, invite a friend. If you're watching the show live, invite a friend, family member, co-worker, neighbor, a frenemy, or even someone you don't, even the enemy, somebody you don't like, just so you guys have something interesting to talk about for the rest of the week. With that being said, Tom and Uncle Saul, let's do what we do best, which is bring information about what's going on in the world, to the Black community, or to anyone who's watching for that matter. So let's get started.
All right, folks, we have now are embarking on our Thanksgiving edition or another Thanksgiving edition of Black Men Speak, and looking forward to sharing the stories with you tonight. Hoping that everybody is enjoying your time with the families, have some at least a couple of days to relax over the next couple of days and throughout this weekend. And we're going to give you something to talk about when you go hang out with the family, eat all that turkey dressing, pizza, catfish, whatever it is you do on Thanksgiving. We'll give you something interesting. Yeah, maybe
He
that's what.
didn't say ham, he said catfish. I ain't never heard nobody eat catfish with Thanksgiving, but
Well,
I guess it's possible. Anything's possible these days.
you are true because I talked to a family member a little bit earlier today. My aunt is went out of state to Arizona to visit with her great grandchildren, and I asked them what they were going to be having. They said they were going to be doing homemade pizza, and I was like, homemade pizza? Yeah, and I was like, okay.
The
And
turkey,
these are
got
young
some
folks.
toppings, and dressing toppings.
I don't know what they're gonna have on
Ghibli
it. But
gravy,
homemade
Ghibli
pizza.
gravy topping.
Yeah, you gonna put some give it gravy on it.
No, I don't think they're gonna have no turkey engraving and dressing on the pizza. It's gonna be homemade pizza. So I was like, well, I guess if they could have homemade pizza, somebody else could have catfish for
Yes,
Thanksgiving.
they can.
So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get it started because we have got a lot of condolences to share with you
I see,
this week.
man.
I was,
Our
I
folks
was
just dropping.
Yeah, I was surprised by the number of folks that we lost within the last week. So let's go ahead and get everybody up to speed. Actually, the first we're going to share with you is someone that you probably are aware of, that we have talked about several times on this show over the last several years. The elder stateswoman, per se, of the fight and the struggle in order to get some type of support from the Tulsa Race Massacre, Miss Viola Ford Fletcher, who is the oldest living survivor of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, has become an ancestor this past Monday at the ripe old age of 111 years old. She was just 7 years old, by the way, when a violent white mob destroyed Tulsa's Greenwood neighborhood, a prosperous black business district, on May the 31st, 1921. The attack left 35 blocks in total ruins. Thousands of black residents were displaced and hundreds were murdered. In recent years, of course, Fletcher became a prominent advocate and an icon for justice and reparations for survivors and descendants of the massacre. However, in 2024, the Oklahoma Supreme Court ruling dismissed the lawsuit seeking compensation for the destruction of North Tulsa. Her passing away now leaves Leslie Benningfield Randall, also at 111 years old, but a little bit younger than her, as the last known survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre. So we definitely have to give our condolences to Viola Fletcher, our kudos for the fight that she has put to try to get something from the state of Oklahoma under government for what they have had to endure for all of these years. And there's now one left survivor that we are aware of who is still living. So have to continue to fight the good fight.
I
So
know we're going to get into it a little later, right, on this story, but I think it's a damn shame that this lady had to live out her remaining years in a nursing home with a roommate at that, and it was, wasn't the best circumstances. But it just goes to show that even if you live 100 years old, 100 years, you won't get justice.
You're a little bit muffled, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, but much better now. Okay, good deal. All right, let's go ahead and go to our next condolence. Someone that, most folks, unless you are very, very young, are probably familiar with seeing this face and or knowing this name. Someone that is commonly known throughout the annals of history. Most of us know him as H. Rap Brown, but his name is actually Jamil Al-Amin, popularly known as H. Rap Brown, one of the most vocal leaders of the Black Power movement during the 60s and 70s, became an ancestor this past Sunday at the age of 82, passed away at the Federal Medical Center in Butner, North Carolina. His wife indicated that he had been suffering from cancer, even though that has not been officially ruled as the cause of death. Brown, or Amin, Al-Amin, was a member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, in which he became chairman and in 1967. Brown's fiery speeches made him a national face of the Black Power movement. He collaborated community programs, anti-police brutality organizing, and partnering strategically with the Black Panther Party during his tenure with SNCC. Brown decried heavy-handed policing in black communities, once stating that violence was as American as cherry pie. But with that being said, he has now become an ancestor at the age of 82. And we, of course, want to offer our condolences to him, his family, those who knew him, and those who were, of course, in that stratosphere.
They asked him, did he mean apple pie? And he said, nah, he said George Washington cherry pie. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to our next loss, our next ancestor. Someone, if you're from the islands or if you like reggae, you may know this face. You definitely probably know his voice. The gentleman's name was Jimmy Cliff, for those of you who may know him. But he was a legendary Jamaican singer who, along with Bob Marley, popularized reggae, ska, and rocksteady music over the past 6 decades. Became an ancestor this past Monday at the age of 81. Born in 1944, Cliff gained fame at the young age of 14 with his hit Hurricane Hattie. He became a reggae pioneer with songs like Many Rivers to Cross and The Harder They Come, the title track of his 1972 film, which introduced reggae to a more international audience. Cliff earned 2 Grammy Awards and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2010, along with Bob Marley, as the only Jamaicans honored to date. The cause of death was a seizure followed by pneumonia.
Have either of y'all seen the movie Harder They Come?
I have not.
You seen it?
I had not seen that one.
It's a good movie, worth seeing.
Gotcha.
So I suggest everybody listening to watch the movies. It's on YouTube, free. You can find it.
What's the name of it?
The Harder They Come.
The Harder They Come.
1973?
1972.
72.
Yes.
I may reach out to him and see if we can add it to a Black Man Speak channel. We have a couple movies out there already, so yeah, I'll see. The harder they come. I'll go look it up. If I can find the other one.
So our condolences to, of course, our friends and compatriots in Jamaica, his family, those who were touched by him in some way or another throughout his life, of course, and ours, and of course his legacy shall live through his music and of course his art form. All right, our next ancestor, and this is probably a little bit more of our generation, someone that whose face you may not know, but whose influence is definitely, and I will say it, timeless. Jelly Bean Johnson. You may not know him personally by face, but Gary George Johnson, the Minneapolis sound pioneer and founding member and drummer of The Time, became an ancestor last Friday at the age of 69. Johnson helped define the Minneapolis sound, highly influenced, of course, not just by his music, but of course Prince and his musical genius and many other within that space. Of course, the Minneapolis sound is a fusion of funk, roll, and soul, funk, rock, and soul, excuse me. He helped shape the time sound, played with, of course, Morris Day and the Time, and appeared in the 1984 film Purple Rain. Johnson also collaborated with Janet Jackson, if you didn't know, producing her 1990 album Black Cat. So we now pay honor and tribute to Jelly Roll Johnson, those, of course, in Minneapolis, and those, of course, who knew and loved his music. Our kudos, of course, to your legacy, and of course, our condolences to your family and those who he touched in some way or another. And I remember Jelly Bean Johnson back in the day, man, when we used to listen to, of course, Prince in the time, and, you look at those faces in the background, and, the annals of time, continue to move. As they say, time waits on nobody.
Waits on nobody.
All right. Next, we have a couple of sports icons that we're going to share, who we have also lost to the realm of ancestors. For those of you who may have been long-term football fans, you may know this face, except when he was a little bit younger. Kenny Easley, Hall of Fame safety with the Seattle Seahawks. The legendary NFL safety became an ancestor at the age of 66 this week. Known as the Enforcer, Easley was a cornerstone of the Seattle Seahawks' vaunted defense during his 7-year career. Renowned for his hard-hitting style, toughness, and leadership, he was one of the most feared and respected defenders of his time. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2017. So, of course, for those who are football fans, Seattle Seahawks fans, those within his family, of course, those who love sports, we offer our condolences at the loss of Kenny Easley. Hey, he's in that, probably in that realm with the Ronnie Lotts of the world, and those guys who literally took your head off.
Right. And from the Cowboys, who Cliff Waters
Cliff Harris.
And Cliff Harris and Charlie Waters.
Yep.
Them cats, yeah. And it goes without saying, he could not play today. Not with the way they hit today. You can't, because these dudes, they were slobber knockers. We talk about slobber knockers. He was a slobber knocker, yeah.
All right, and last but definitely not least, a basketball star, Rodney Rogers. For those of you who are basketball fans, we just lost him just earlier this week. A Wake Forest basketball legend and former NBA star who just became an ancestor this week at the age of 54 of natural causes related to a 2008 spinal cord injury. A Durham, North Carolina native, Rogers was instrumental in the Wake Forest basketball success in the 1990s, earning ACC Freshman of the Year in 1991 and ACC Player of the Year in 1993. He was drafted 9th overall by the Denver Nuggets, played 12 years in the NBA, earning Sixth Man of the Year in 2000. Rogers inspired many through advocating for his injury with the spinal cord injury that he had and his resilience in living his best life in spite of that. He is survived by his wife, Faye, and his children. And so we, of course, give our condolences to the Rogers family, the NBA family, and those, of course, who watched him play his greatness at Wake Forest and with the Denver Nuggets as well. We give our condolences to Mr. Rogers. And so, we lost a lot of folks this past week. So, during this time that families get together, please be in prayer for all of these folks because, of course, families will be having a very difficult time with their first Thanksgiving without their loved ones.
The last 3 times died way too young, man. I mean, you talking 50s and 60s. Come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We got to turn that trend around, man. I mean, if you're 80, 90, 100 years old, you lived a full life, but you're 50 years old, you still have some life left. You still have some tread on those tires.
You have to appreciate every day that you have, man, because you never know. So let's acknowledge a couple of people on the chat line before we get started with our main stories. We have at Be For Real Girl on the chat line. I want to thank you for joining the chat line.
I haven't heard that name before.
I have not either. So definitely you can let us know what your thoughts are. And of course, Mr. Khalid.
For Real Girls? Is that what you said?
Yeah, at the handle is at B for real girl.
Okay, well, I wonder if that bee can cook some real biscuits from scratch. You know,
And fry some catfish.
yeah,
Oh
and there's
Lord,
some
have mercy.
catfish. Yeah, for that Thanksgiving meal, we need some catfish and biscuits.
No, she said, no, you fry some catfish. She said, this is 2025, you fry the catfish.
I
You
call
want
it
it burnt?
catfish. If she can make the biscuits, we can get down.
All right, and then of course we have Mr. Collegian African American. That will be our good friend, Mr. Brother Frederick V. Roberts Esquire, out of Prairie View, Texas. So,
VV.
with that being said, we want to welcome them both. Okay, it's me. Oh, okay, at B for real girl. Okay, I got a few cousins, but maybe that's my cousin Armando. I'm not exactly sure, but you're gonna have to let me know for sure. There we go. Oh, Audrey K. Okay, I don't know why your name isn't on there, cousin. This is cousin Audrey K. She has a different handle this way. Okay. So we want to thank, of course, Audrey K., who is one, of course, our longtime supporters. Want to thank you, of course, for supporting us this year, today as well. And of course, we wish you both a very, very happy Thanksgiving. So why don't we do this? We have a couple of stories we want to get to. It's already 15 minutes after the hour. And so we will not forget, I want to make sure that we all wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving on the front end, and then talk very briefly about what we want to be thankful for or what we are thankful for this year. And then we will go into our stories, and then we'll do a final happy Thanksgiving. So just in case we run out of time, we'll have a few minutes to talk about it early. So we'll start with you, my good brother Jimmy. Tell us a little bit about your Thanksgiving wish or what you are thankful for.
Oh, good question. I was hoping Uncle Saul would go first so I can sponge off his response. Um, Actually, I'm thankful for good health. Unfortunately, I took a very long, bumpy road to get here, but I'm finally at a point in my life where I take my health and nutrition serious. I go to doctor's appointments, take my medication, even though, and I'm actually involved in managing my health. I don't just blindly take what they give me, blindly take this, take that. But I do a research myself, find out what the side effects are, and weigh the consequence. Because sometimes you have to push back on medical advice. So I'm thankful that I still have the mental capacity to be able to do that, and hopefully I'll get to live a nice long life from here on. Because I was definitely on a path where I'm going to make an early exit to the graveyard.
All right, I will go next. One just thankful to be 6 feet above as opposed to 6 feet below. Obviously, we've lost a lot of folks this past week, so I just want to be thankful to God for being 6 feet above. Of course, my family. I'm very, very, very fortunate to have both my mom and my father still living. So very thankful for them. Thankful for my family. Thankful for my health. But to your point, Jimmy, you have to be very intentional
Sure.
about working on your health so you can have the quality of life that you need. Thankful for my friends, just having a roof over my head, some clothes to put on my back, because there are some folks out there who are, who don't have a home to go to, and it get pretty doggone cold this time of the year, and there's some folks who don't even have a place to go. So, just taking care of the basics, and just having the breath in my lungs to continue to live another day, because as long as we're living another day, we know that God still has a purpose for us. So I'm just thankful for that. And I will pass the baton and yield the floor to our good friend, Uncle Asad.
So I don't participate in European holidays, especially one like this where it is marked by the desecration of the first peoples of this continent. But I will say that I am appreciative of both of you and the audience that you serve, inviting me to be on this platform to share in a small way of contributing, discussion, some historical knowledge that I may have toward the liberation of our people. So I'm very appreciative of that, and hopefully that that contributes to our larger fight for liberation in this world as African peoples, and get some people in homes that Tommy mentioned, get people fed that you mentioned, those people who don't have, again, so that again what I contribute here will somehow contribute in the long term in those things.
Oh, well, we appreciate you being here, and I will say one more thing I'm going to add to Tommy's statement. Um, if you go into church and you find yourself praying, make sure you're not sitting there praying to the white Jesus. So we support the black Jesus on this show. At least I do. Black God, black Jesus. So
All right, and also we want to thank. I'm very thankful for our fans, those who have supported us. My cousin Audrey K, who is here. Uncle Asar, man, who supports us and supported us for several years, and everybody in any capacity, small or large, who of course has supported the success for the show. So
I
just want
can't
to.
see the chat this time, but is Miss Tanya with us tonight?
She is not, or at least not yet. I don't see on the chat line. She may get on a little bit later on, but not right now.
Okay.
But that we do have a matter of fact, cousin Audrey K. Want to share her shout out. She says, I'm grateful for the experiences in life and how God has allowed me to evolve and grow and navigate through life's ups and downs. I'll share. I'll say so. To your point, Jimmy, I guess we can talk about our first topic since you brought up praying to the white Jesus. We will talk about our first topic, and I'll let you open that up. I know we have a couple of things we're going to talk about tonight, and we'll start out with the concept of Jesus.
Well, I only brought it up. I was when I was at my doctor's appointment today. This lady dropped me off a card, thanking me for my service as a veteran, which I was very appreciative. And then she asked me what church do I go to, and I didn't want to offend her, but I already knew where this was going to go, and I told her that I find it difficult to find a church home because I don't want to be around fake people praying to a fake deity. So I don't believe Jesus was white, European. I get tired of looking at all the angels white, God's white, everybody in heaven is white. Only person is black is the damn devil and his followers. So that and life cannot have started with the modern human in Africa with all the dark people. Um, the Bible takes place in northern Africa, Egypt, in the Middle East, where it's hot as hell and everybody is dark skinned or black, and somehow all we see when you open the Bible up is white faces, European faces. So I told her for that reason I find it difficult to sit up in church, hooping and hollering, catching the Holy Ghost, and under the tutelage of a white Jesus. So it's best for me to just stay at home and worship in private. So that's what we're on the subject tonight. I thought it'd be interesting to add the topic. Just see what you guys think. Does it matter whether Jesus is white or black, or I'm just extreme in this particular matter? Because if it doesn't matter, then we should all be comfortable with praying to the black Jesus, if that's the case.
Well, they're interesting. You bring that up. Some folks say that it doesn't matter what color Jesus is. I actually happen to disagree with this. I actually had I won't say a disagreement. I call it a difference of opinion. My aunt is old school Christian, and so of course, when our parents grew up, they were bombarded with certain images. But all that being said, culturally, there is no group of people globally that worship someone who doesn't look like them, but Africans, not just in the United States of America, but on the African continent as well. Because of course, even on the African continent, the original Jesus, the authentic Jesus, has been colonized, and of course, they worship a fair skin, not even a fair skin, a bleached skin image of Jesus as well. And I think those who have colonized the narrative of Jesus, they know what the true Jesus looked like, the authentic, the original Jesus looked like. But if you have a political agenda in order to politically and economically and socially colonize a group of people, then of course you are going to steal and use that narrative in order to control the masses. And that in essence is what has happened over the years. Even in the stripped down Bible, the King James that most people read, even in there, even in there, they said, well, of course, he had hair like lamb's wool and feet like burnt brass, and I've not seen anybody else but someone who looks black who has that type of description. But when you look at the large majority of images of Jesus, even in most of the black churches, for whatever reason, it's everything but what's even in the Bible in and of
Well,
itself.
except in the Vatican, in the Pope's private chamber, one of the oldest drawings of Jesus, there's a black man.
And Mary,
Depictions,
and Mary was a black woman.
that date back to the first and second century of Jesus being black. So it's not like folks don't know. And on top of that, the letters from Pilate to Caesar describe Jesus as a remarkable person, but as a person who was sunburned. I mean, very, 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 not just tan, but dark tan on top of that. So there's enough evidence out there to suggest that we know that this white Jesus is alive. But people go to church, they bow down, they pray to it, they feel more comfortable praying to a white God than a black God. So, but I submit to you that you can't be truthful with yourself and in your beliefs and expect me to join in this lie. I know the truth. I'm not going to participate in it. So if you want to come to church with me with a black Jesus and a black God and black angel, okay, fine, we can talk. But until that happens, I won't be visiting your church. I'm sorry.
My dear mother, who passed a little over a year ago, almost 2 years in February, she collected black angels.
Okay.
And so my brother and I, we have a treasure trove of any kind of black angel you can think of. I mean, many upon many upon many. And I have them here in my home. I have a shrine here. She's here with me. We had her.
Woman of my heart.
Yeah, she's beautiful black angels. I want to get to Nigeria. First trip to Nigeria and white Jesus. But I want to say before that, Jimmy, you may want to go join the mosque. You sound like one of the Nation of Islam. Talking about the devils.
I don't have any problem with the nation, except about the nation. But Uncle Star, please don't start this story by telling me that in Nigeria, in Africa.
No, wait. I'm gonna get to it. But I want to say before that, and I'm gonna step on some toes. When we look at ancient Kemet, the stories of the resurrection, this is thousands of years. You mentioned the first and second century. This is thousands of years before there was ever a Christianity or Judaism, or anything like that. The Kemetu had the stories of the resurrection, the Immaculate Conception, the fratricide,
True.
and a whole host of other things. So when people talk about Jesus, my position is, I don't know if the cat ever really existed, because every culture had stories of a Messiah, and there's no different other than when he went through Europe or even into Africa with the Coptic church, which is older than the European Christian church. These stories are already old. So but we won't get on
to Rome to Caesar. Mention Jesus of Nazareth.
Then we have to talk about Flavian and what they did and how they manipulated a political situation to give the people of Rome what they wanted. And he is, in fact, the Jesus that they speak of, because he fashioned those circumstances around what he was doing. Obey the Roman government or the whatever, and right. Bow down to your master. He was talking about himself. But aside that, and we can have another show to talk about that. My first trip to Nigeria, very close friends of mine, and we were in their home, and they had the white Jesus up. And I simply asked the question, why y'all got a white picture of Jesus? Oh my gosh, you would have thought
did you kick the homeless ass?
You would have thought I killed Jesus. Oh, and like Tommy was saying, the first thing, if you understand Christianity, then you understand it doesn't matter what color Jesus is. And I'm like, well, take the damn picture down then if it doesn't matter. But we know from historical fact, because the Europeans document everything, right, that Michelangelo, it was a model. It may have been his uncle, it may have been his cousin, it may have been some people from the jail who posed for him as a painting. We know that for historical fact. So why do you have this picture here? And why must you argue with me when I simply ask the question and defend it? And I'll tell you one more story. I was in the Nigerian embassy one year waiting to meet with a guy to get a visa. And I looked at the table, they had the magazines on the table, and I picked up the magazine, and it had a white dude looking like Jesus, and the caption said that they had hired this guy in Nigeria to play the part of Jesus in the pageant. And I'm like, no.
Uncle Sar, you went exactly where I was hoping you wouldn't go. That in darkened Africa, we still got a white Jew. I was hoping that the story was going to go a different direction. Um,
No, man.
but you are right. Just about every culture around the world has a Messiah story, has a flood story, has a Genesis story. Um, so the point of religion is not necessarily to get caught up in in actual literal words that are being spoken, but to understand the moral of it is to make you a better person. So if you can extract that from these various stories, even the Indians with their 101 gods and goddesses, um, you know, the story, if you read some of the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Emerald Tablets or the about the Anannakins, and but like I said, the whole point is that you should strive to be a better person. Now, I don't care where you get that insight from: Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Confucianism, Buddhism, Hinduism. I mean, it doesn't matter. If it makes you a better person, I'm all for it.
And you know the old saying that goes, what the Africans talk about, the native brothers and sisters say, when the white man came to Africa, the Africans had the land and the white man had the Bible. And he said, let us close our eyes, let's close our eyes and pray. And when they opened their eyes, the Africans had the Bible and the white man had the land.
When they open the eyes, the white man had the gun and the land. They gave you the Bible.
And it's still that way. It's still
Yeah.
that way.
Gave you the Bible in exchange for it. So for your salvation.
And interestingly enough, sadly enough, religion, whether you talk about the commercialization of religion or the pure intellectual and emotional colonization through religion, has been the most effective, if not one of the most effective forms of colonization and mass appropriation of wealth and power in the history of humankind.
That's right. And let me find out you read a book talk about the colonization and the socialization. You know you went to A&M with me. We didn't learn a damn thing. They didn't teach us nothing.
No,
What I'll say is, if you're going to read the Bible, I recently, 2 years ago, got an Ethiopian Bible, which is the oldest Bible
Coptic.
I believe in existence. And I can't believe as I'm reading, Uncle Sar, on just some of the basic differences. It's like, well, did y'all just mistranslate these stories or what? Because some of these are, I mean, they're kind of similar, but the outcome and the meaning is not quite the same. Which leads me to believe that maybe all these smart persons will be translating this Hebrew and Greek documents somehow, maybe purposely, slant us in a different direction in some of the translations. And I know, like, I was just reading here recently in Genesis chapter 3, when God said, let's make man in our own image. Well, you go look at the word Salem, Tsalem, I believe. It's a Hebrew word. But really, when you look up the meaning of it, it's not making my image. It's to make it in like a clone of me, an exact replica of me with my essence. And could you imagine if black folks would understand that they're the closest thing to divinity? We're the ones who populate the world to get rid of the Denisovians, to get rid of the Neanderthals, to get rid of the Pekin, and all these other humanoids that are walking around. If we hadn't done that, we are really walking Jesus Christ because we saved the world. What would the world look like if all those other humanoid species were still walking around? If we hadn't done this. So really, black people are the closest thing to divinity on this planet. And like the book says, you should honor your mother and father so your days should be longer. So until the world starts honoring black men and black women and putting us in our place, and we recognize our rightful place as the mother and father to humanity, the people who actually saved the world, because the Denisovians didn't save us, the Neanderthals didn't save us. I know they keep looking for missing links, man. They keep, bless their heart, and they hadn't found it yet. The only link to modern humans is us. It goes through Africa. Even though they keep looking, they spend millions and millions of man hours and resources trying to find that link to connect somehow connect the Europeans back to evolution and say that's where maybe intelligent life started, but they hadn't found the bones of the DNA so far. So,
Well, let me say this, Tommy, before we move to the next story.
okay,
I'm glad you said that, Jimmy, because I want to say that this is why Africa is integral in our liberation as Black people around the world.
it is.
Because once that truth is known by people, the whole lie of white supremacy, the whole lie,
Yeah.
the whole white pathological control of the earth crumbles. But as long as we continue to fight with Africa and say that we're not Africa, this kind of thing, we will never be free. Because as Malcolm taught, you cut the roots from a tree, the tree dies. You cannot hate a tree and not end up hating yourself. So until we embrace Africa and understand where, and this is the other thing, all the resources are there. There are no what do we have here? All of our we need to be making connections to Africa, and I'm not talking about in an exploitive way. We need to be making connections with Africa. And if there's a so-called leader amongst us talking about liberation and freedom, if they're not talking about Africa, they're not talking about a damn thing.
If the African people need someone to negotiate their rare mineral rights to the Western world, give us a call. We'll be glad to do negotiation for you, because the deals y'all are negotiating now, minerals for exchange for guns and bullets so you can kill each other, is not a good deal.
Agreed. Absolutely. So,
what's our next story, T?
All right, next story, just something, and I remember I was talking to someone about this earlier this week, and of course, clearly this is not the first time that this has happened, but I'm pretty sure you guys have run into this probably recently, Jimmy. There are a few grassroots organizations out there, coalition of grassroots organizations that are calling for a nationwide economic boycott during the holiday season and the shopping season, starting with this Black Friday. They call it the mass blackout movement, started by the
Boycott for what reason? What's the purpose?
The purpose is dual-fold, and I will share that as if you allow me to get through the few highlights of that. But really, the key is to focus on pouring your money into smaller businesses and to really protest what they feel is malfeasance on large, massive corporations. And so what they're calling is for a week of economic resistance. It calls for shoppers to avoid major retailers and corporations and to support local, smaller, and independent businesses. Instead, basically saying, if you need to spend, do so with small local businesses and pay in cash. And if you have to work, consider donating to Feed America. Otherwise, focusing your spend and your energy into smaller business, which are really the growth and the future of America, as opposed to a few large multi-billion-dollar businesses who are controlling most of the politics of America.
But Tom, we should be doing that already. We protest Black Friday to do that. You understand that. The point is that economically, Tom, we are suffering. You know, we all build a nation, and we're the last one to come to the dinner table. We get the crumbs. We don't even get to sit there and eat some of the scraps. We get the crumbs that fall off the table by accident, just about, in a nation that we helped make great. You know, and other people come here and all they see is the sky's the limit. And we've been here 40 years, and we don't see any sky, Tom. We see a ceiling that we can't get past. So we have to start understanding that, you know, the American dream for us means to awaken to your true self and who you are. So I agree with organizations like the Nation of Islam in that respect. But where I fault the Nation of Islam is that they're about the Nation of Islam. And it needs to be about all of us understanding that we need to come together. We need to control the economy of our neighborhood. It doesn't make sense. You go into a black neighborhood and you see a black restaurant with Korean owners, Asian owners. Every convenience store is owned by an Indian person or an Asian person. You know, we don't even create jobs in our own community where we spend millions and millions of dollars. We've already chronicled this so many times that our money, we turn it over with each other less than once. You know, 95% of our money flows out of the black community. Whereas you look at the Asian communities here in Plano, For example, in the Muslims in Chicago, we have some of the best economic conditions. Their money turns over 30 and 40 times before $1 leaves their neighborhood. $1 of economic, $1 coming in turns into 30 or $40 of economic activity before it leaves. And with us, we get a nickel on every dollar. I mean, this is why we can't catch up, Tom. So we have to do what other people are doing without apology. The Muslims in Chicago, I'm sorry, Detroit, when they took over the abandoned areas and rebuilt it, and decided they only going to spend money with other Muslim people. I mean, nobody fault them for being racist or prejudiced. When the Hispanic groups over in West Dallas do the same thing, when Chinese, I mean, Asian people do it here in Collin County and Plano, white folks have already been doing it. They don't apologize for spending their money with other white people. But black folks I feel guilty. You start talking about we need to spend more of our money with each other for economic activity. That money floated around several times before it leaves our neighborhood. We got to apologize for that. We made to feel guilty for it. This is what's wrong with us, Tom. So we got to change what's between our 2 ears and our thinking and understand that it's okay for us to do exactly what other people who are more successful than us, what they're doing.
It's a very, go ahead, Uncle
No, no,
Sam.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, it's a very simple solution, but the only reason that a large part of what you're saying is happening is because of individual decisions. It starts in your own household. It starts with you. It starts in your household. It starts in your community. It doesn't matter whether you are living in a all black neighborhood or if you are living in a mixed neighborhood. It's about your individual economic decisions. There's a old saying that goes, every dollar spent is a political decision made. And with that being said, you have to make decisions. The reason that you're going to find Asian owned, Indian owned, Caucasian owned businesses in the black community is because those folks in that community choose for them to be there with their dollars. And the reason that you don't see black owned businesses in every other community is because they're going to make decisions that you are not going to last in their neighborhood. And so, not until your community makes a decision that they are going to empower and grow their own businesses are they going to grow.
And it just seems
So,
like every generation of black folks are starting over from scratch. We're at the starting point of the 100-yard dash, and everybody else is at the 85, 90, 95-yard line when the gun goes off. How the hell are we ever going to catch up and win that race? We can't. So at some point, we got to get serious about passing wealth down to the next generation, generating wealth, and then structuring wealth in a way where you pass it on to your heirs, so it becomes generational. So every generation cannot be starting from scratch from the very beginning, when everybody else is almost at the finish line when the gun goes off. We can never catch up. Our kids can never catch up that way. And one of our frat brothers, Tony Brown, I think gave one of the best examples when I heard him speak in school. He said if I have $100 and you have $100 and you give me 95 of your $100 and I have $195 and you have $5, how could your home be as nice as mine? How can your kids be as educated as mine? Your IQ can't even be as high as mine. So we can't continue to give 95% of our money to the group, give it away, and somehow expect to catch up wealth-wise. It doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. I don't care how much other groups like us, how much they want to help us, how guilty they feel about what happened in the past. The reality is, we give all our money away to other groups rather than spending with each other.
so I'm going to push back a little bit on that, Jimmy.
Okay.
Number one, we were brought here. We weren't brought here to succeed. That's number one. We were brought here enslaved to be enslaved, and anything other than that is not accepted, right? Uh, the other thing is with the wealth gap, that it's too massive to bridge, and it's by design. Under capitalist system, it is made that way for us not to succeed because we were not brought here. We were brought here as workers. We were not brought here to be entrepreneurs or to participate in the capitalist system. As a matter of fact, if I said on this broadcast many times, the definition of Pan-Africanism is the liberation and unification of African peoples under scientific socialism. Kwame Ture talked about that, right? So and I also said that capitalism enslaved us, it will not free us. So when we talk about black entrepreneurship and buying black and selling black, there's a whole bunch of, it's very complicated. But one of the things is it creates a black bourgeoisie, right? There's only one Walmart. There's only one Microsoft. The masses of white people don't even participate in that. They're all struggling, right? So what? How can we? What are we going to produce as black people? There won't be a black Walmart because we don't have the funds to even create a black Walmart, right? So when we talk about, and I'm not saying don't buy from your own people. If that makes you feel good to buy from black people, it makes me feel good to give a brother a couple of dollars. You know, that's cool. But don't think that's going to liberate us. That's going to enrich that entrepreneur. As a matter of fact, even if or part of the problem is the attitude. When we go into a black store and we're treated poorly, what do we say? Ninjas ain't shit. But if we go into a white store and we're treated poorly by a white person, we say that white person ain't shit. You see how? Before we even get to a whole economic renaissance, we got to deal with that. But so I want to say again, we have to look towards Africa. Because there are the resources. If we want to call ourselves capitalists, but capitalists own the resources and the means of production. What the hell do we own here? There is nothing to own. Even when we talk about the Black Wall Streets, they were ran by a small group of black bourgeoisie who were beholden to the white capitalists. Where did they get their resources from? Where did they get their products from? Where do the black businesses that you want to shop at, where did they get their resources from? And that whole thing about the black dollar circulating, that's nonsense because nobody ever measured that. And if you go to the book where it first appeared in, they can't even cite the source, right? But let's look at that, right? How many times does the black dollar, let's accept it, if it circulates in the black community? It don't circulate a second because as soon as I pay it to you, you pay rent to a white man. As soon as I pay it to you, you buy wax for the candles that you make from a white man. You see what I'm saying? So how would that free us when the money doesn't even stay, it doesn't even matter. And when we talk about the Asians and the Latinos or the Arabs and the Indians with stores in our community, that's where they get loans from. And then they in turn exploit their own people just like the whites do. They got Asians working in the Asian store. They got Indians working in the Indian store. And the person who owns the store is making all the money. They're exploiting the people who work in there. And then in the black stores, we don't.
But they're working though.
In the black store because you can't afford to. You only got somebody working there, and that's the person who owns it.
So the key thing, Uncle Sar, a couple of things
that needs to be examined before we say this will liberate us. If we're looking for liberation, if you're looking for
I will give you those
monetary enrichment, then that's fine. But if you're looking for liberation, that's not the answer.
So I'm not on board with the socialism thing. So here's a couple of things. One, you say the Asians.
Okay, define socialism for me though. Before you go further, define why you're against it. What is socialism?
But at least they're working. So
what is socialism? But
you're jobs for
you're being exploited. You're working and being exploited.
Okay. First of all, you can't exploit someone unless they want to be exploited. If you take the job, then you're agreeing to work for those wages. That's not exploitation. That's an agreement.
So you're saying what was the guy named Kanye West who said slavery was a choice? You said slavery was a choice? So you're saying that being exploited was a choice?
Because there are some people who decide to leave. There are people who decide to stay in slavery. Yeah, slavery was a choice.
No. Come on, man.
But let me finish. So you want to go to the extreme. But Asians employing other Asians, at least are creating jobs for the people. When I moved here in 1990, got in the military, there were not very much economic activity by the Asian community in Plano. And now they have Asian community, the Asian banks. That's what spending money in your own community would do for you. In fact, the Asian bank was one of right off 75 was so successful that the white banks decided to move into the area because the Asians had a loan repair rate of 99.5%. It was very uncommon for them to default on the loan because they felt obligated.
Where was the Asian bank? Where was the Asian bank?
So they can loan it out to somebody else who may need it.
The white bank moved in because they did that to continue oppressing or exploiting these same people. That's what they do.
Call it exploitation. I just call it.
What did Malcolm say, Tommy? Show me a capitalist and I'll show you a bloodsucker. If you understand what capitalism is, you know that it is blood-sucking concept. It is untenable.
I'm one of those bloodsuckers.
Well, you're a
Because you want to
bloodsucker
say that
then.
I
So
exploit
you're not
people
talking about liberating
by
black
Wait a
people.
paying
second,
You
wait a
them
want to
second,
free
time
salaries.
out,
yourself.
time out. Wait a second. Let him finish and then we'll go back and forth.
Okay, but if you saying that I exploit people by paying them a salary, giving them a job, giving them opportunity, okay, then I'll go ahead and take that. I'll wear that hat. If that's what you want to call it. But I don't call it that. I think when you decide to work for someone, you accept a position. That is you exchanging your time and your services and your talents and your knowledge and experience and whatever you have to offer to sell to someone who has the money to buy it from you. You don't have to go work there. Nobody's exploiting you. You can leave anytime you want to. Nobody's forcing you to stay on the job. But the point is, Uncle Sar, you hit on a few key points. You said that they're so far ahead. What almost like what's the point? Because we don't own anything.
No, I
Well,
didn't say what's the point. I said it's not
Walmart
going to happen.
started with
Not
a
through
guy pushing a
capitalism. No.
cart in Arkansas. That's where Walmart started. So every Microsoft started in Bill Gates and a few other people's garage. So a lot of big companies today started someplace with very humble means and grew to where they are now. Are we going to open a Walmart tomorrow? No. But that doesn't mean we can't open one store. When Kmart, Sears, and some other retailers left Oak Cliff and South Dallas, when a lot of Montgomery Ward and other big stores left Redbird Mall or Blackbird Mall or whatever it's called now, Southwest Center Mall, you know what? We should have been moving in there to provide goods and services to take their place. You got to start someplace. But to
What,
say, oh, well, we can't start a Walmart tomorrow is sort of like
I didn't
nihilistic
say anything about
attitude.
can't. You putting words in my mouth. I didn't say anything about can't. What I said was it doesn't work. What did you say? What did you say? Oh,
It works for everybody else except us.
you sound like the other people in this country who say, why can't black people be like other immigrants? Because we came here enslaved.
Echo
Don't tell
Star,
me that there's one Walmart, there's a Microsoft, they started with a wheelbarrow.
Uncle
That
Star.
we're not that.
Everything has a
They didn't
purpose.
have enslavement. They didn't have Jim Crow.
Okay,
They didn't have
Uncle
the prison
Star.
industrial complex. They didn't
Just
have
like getting
what's
hung
going
up
on
on
today, the
slavery,
rollback of black history, all this
everything
kind of
has
stuff.
a
They didn't
purpose.
deal with that.
God
And if
brought
you
you
don't
here for a
understand that
reason.
capitalism is exploitation, then everything else you completely confused.
Slavery
Capitalism,
was
you're talking
just a
about paying
means to
somebody, you're
get
not paying
you
them a living
here.
wage. The whole
Slavery
point
was
of
a means.
capitalism is to put more
Uncle Star, we
in than
can't
you
talk
take
over each
out.
other and have an intelligent conversation. Slavery
Come
was
on,
just a
man.
means to get you here. Everything has a purpose. God brought you here for a reason. It was not to get here and complain about slavery. He brought you here, got you in the shape you need to be, put you on the right path, and you
So
let the
everything is
devil.
equal now. Is that what you're saying?
I'm
Everything is
saying we let
equal?
the devil put us on the wrong path. You're brought here for a reason. And your reason is not you coming here just to be a slave. Your reason is not to come here to be discriminated against, to be a second, third, fourth class citizen. Your reason was your
Nobody
reason has
said that was
always
the
been
reason,
here
Jimmy.
to
What are you
save
talking
humanity.
about?
So take the lessons that you learned here, go back to Africa, use that to bridge to help bring up. We've always been the saviors for humanity. We are the walking Jesus Christ. That is our purpose. But you are no good to anybody if you can't do that. You can't deliver. So yes, slavery was a means to get us here. Now that we're here, understand what God's purpose was to get you here. It took a lot to get you here. Don't let all the people that died in the middle passage, damn near 20 million people thrown overboard, die in vain. Don't sit here with this nihilistic attitude about, well, we're too far behind to try to catch up. No, we're not. Think about the godly
Jimmy,
purpose, your
Jimmy,
divine purpose
Jimmy.
for being here and around the world and find a way to save the world from itself. And socialism is not it. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry if you're a bloodsucking capitalist. Don't be
I
sorry.
am bloodsucking capitalist.
Don't be sorry. Be proud, be proud of that. But
You hear that
understand that
sucking
capitalism is
cow?
unsustainable. Do you not
That's right.
recognize? Do you not see the
Okay,
signs on the wall?
let me ask you both this because obviously you both have different philosophies in terms of achieving the same end. And so the question is, what is the end game and how do you find the common threads to reach the end game? Because there's no one way, there's no just one way to do anything.
Even in this the so-called belly of the beast, or as the Rastas call it, Babylon, capitalism. This is not a purely capitalist system.
It isn't. It isn't.
When your favorite president, Barack Obama, Jimmy, bailed out the savings and loans, that was
Yep.
socialism.
Exactly.
Social Security is socialism. You know, there's a whole public school is socialism. All of these elements are socialism, and capitalism at every integral. And I wish I had the dates and I could show you. Uses capitalism to sustain itself. It is unsustainable, so it has to be continuously manipulated, even with the raising and the lowering of the interest rates. This is all to continue capitalism. Why do you think they come out with a jobs report to say how many people are in work to continue pushing this capitalism? Black Friday that's coming up, and I hate that term. It's all about, quote unquote, as they say, getting back in the black. You see what I'm saying? So it's all manipulative, and it cannot work. Socialism, on the other hand, if you know anything about socialism, we can talk about, well, capitalism means there's few owners or one owner, or you have this class of owners, and then you have everybody else working for them, making wealth for them, which is what's going on. With socialism, we all get something. You get your fair share. All the money that we spend, all the work that we do, all of that profit goes to these few, I don't know how many it is, 800 billionaires in this country. They got all the wealth. So all the work that you do, everything you buy goes to them, and we get nothing back. But in socialism, what you generate, you get a portion of that, a fair portion. So when you say I'm paying you a salary, you ain't paying me anything. That's not a fair. We're in this country, we didn't have a living wage. People living on the street because they can't afford rent. Are you kidding? To rent an apartment, you gotta pay. You gotta make 3 times the rent. It's like, come on.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of a history story, and I hate to use that as an example, but I'll use this one because it's closer to our country. So the original, when the settlers came here from Europe and settled into America, they had more of a socialist system where they tried to come together and everybody sharing the activities, and we sharing the bounty of food that we raised. And you know what? Those people hadn't been for the Indians, damn near starved to death, because some people decided they didn't want to work for their share. They were okay with getting the share, but they didn't want to work for it. And when as people started taking off and not working for their share, that became contagious. And when nobody was working for a share, the colonists damn near starved. You know what turned them around is when you decided to start dividing up land and then having land ownership. And now what you produce, you produce for yourself, and whatever surplus you have, you get to sell to others to generate wealth, and that's pretty much was how the economic system started here in America.
That's not true. That's not true. None of that is true.
Hold on.
None of that's true.
You and your socialism, you can take it wherever you think socialism is going to work, but all I see is that communist socialist countries around the world, North Koreans are 25 pounds on average lighter than South Koreans. Why? Because they have a socialist communist system. The South Koreans have a more of an economic system that's closer to the West, but yet the South Koreans are fatter and wealthier than the North Koreans. The same thing in Russia. You know, their socialist system. They damn near starved to death. Couldn't even feed their own population.
This is all propaganda, man. You don't even know this is true. How many times you been to Russia? Okay. How many times you been to North Korea? And that's not true about the way the economic system started in this country. That's not true.
They changed it to generate, to become more open.
What about China? What about Cuba, who has lasted under sanctions from America? They're completely socialist, and they've outlasted the sanctions.
Cuba.
Look at China. China is in a better financial system than the U.S. They're socialists. They're even communists. So what are you saying?
Cuba's been subsidized for 50, 60, 70 years.
They haven't been subsidized. They've been cut off from the rest of the world by the U.S. because they don't want them to succeed.
Venezuela subsidized them now. Russia subsidized.
What about China? What about China?
Without those subsidies, they would have starved to death.
Then what subsidies? From where? They've got sanctions. What are you talking about?
I tell you what.
But let's talk about China, though. Talk about China. China. Let's go to China.
Once again, adopted Western economic system in order to feed their population.
That's not true.
They're very much a Western economy now.
That's not
jobs
true.
For their people and wealth.
That's not true.
When they were under tower and use a communist country, they were starving to death, killing millions of people. Come on, Uncle. Sorry, you know better than that.
That's not true.
You know what? That socialism sounds good, but I tell you what, you want to come over because my next adventure is to buy some farmland. You want to come? Sharecrop and work my land, and I give you a share of the crop.
Exactly.
Exactly.
My grandmother's father was a sharecropper.
So yeah,
I know what the situation
on my land, and we'll be happy. I'll give you half the crops that you grow. You take
But
the other half.
you're pointing out why we don't. You're pointing out why we don't have wealth in this country because they took it all through silly systems like sharecropping, exploitive systems like sharecropping. But they didn't. They wanted to be exploited, right? Come on, man.
I'm saying everything's a choice, Uncle Saul.
Everything is what?
You may make a choice. You may not be happy with the choice.
It's not a.
But everything's a choice.
And to that point, and
you're not happy with the choice, make a different choice.
To that point, with it being 9 o'clock, we have a couple of minutes.
It is nine. Sorry, the ball out now with the talking. He gets you to talk.
That's because both of y'all. That's because y'all soliloquies are so short.
Okay,
somehow
we got 3 minutes over to cover sports real quick. Let's talk about those Texas A&M.
Before we get to sports, let's talk very briefly about Guinea. Well, actually, there are 2 things. One follow-up. There were some schoolgirls who were kidnapped in Nigeria.
Yeah, 25 of them. What happened?
Exactly. It just within the last week, they were rescued. So
rescued by who? Did Trump get them out? That's who you blame.
No, that ain't who I blame. But
you said it was Trump's fault. Why did Trump go over there and rescue them?
Hey,
but I guess somebody in a position of authority decided to go rescue those girls, which is good. Whoever was responsible.
Nigerian President Bola Tinubu praised security forces for their swift response to the.
There you go. Nigerians taking care of problem in Nigeria. Look at that.
Jimmy. It's so complicated, brother. They
know
about that. Here we go.
25 girls kidnapped, raped, and God knows what else. The leader of their country decided to do something about it and go rescue the girls. Sounds simple to me. So I praise the man for making the right decision. Rather than sitting there blaming Trump for what happened in Nigeria.
What's the next story?
The question.
We're talking about those A&M actions.
The point was, why don't he just keep his hands out of their business altogether and let them do what they're going to do, as opposed to him trying to find his personal interest?
The question is,
the point I was trying to make last week is that he only cries when he has some personal interest, and then he starts blaming somebody, killing somebody else, and trying to rescue some Christians when that is not his agenda. That was the only point that I was trying to make.
It's little to do with religion.
Would those girls still be kidnapped and raped and held hostage?
Nor did I blame Trump for these young girls being kidnapped.
What I was trying to say is Trump was
intellectually honest in saying that he gave a damn about any Christians in Nigeria.
He doesn't, Tom. That's not the point. He's not supposed to care.
It is the point.
Everybody is caring mode.
Well, then what he needs to do is stick to his job in the United States.
Okay, but I'm glad that somebody brought attention to the bullet.
As opposed to him lying about having any concern about anybody in Nigeria, whether they're Christian, Muslim, or
he want Nigeria out on the map.
He brought global attention to it. We're sitting here talking about this on Black Man Speak because of Donald Trump brought attention to it. If he hadn't brought attention to it, no one would have cared. Who cares?
That's not true. That's not because you're talking about it on Black Men Speak doesn't mean the whole rest of the world is not talking about it.
Okay. Then what other issues there's tons of issues that are happening in Africa right now that Donald Trump is not speaking of. What does the world say about those issues?
I know about them. The people I know about them.
I don't hear anything.
J.R. Stewart don't know about them. So the rest of it, so nobody knows.
Where's the global attention?
They just had a coup in Guinea Bissau. They just had a coup in Guinea Bissau. They had Mali just sent trucks to.
By the way, he didn't say nothing about these girls who got kidnapped, so that's not.
Wall Street Journal?
Right. He didn't say anything about the 300 that got kidnapped Friday. He didn't say anything.
Right.
Because they had something to do with it. Let's be clear.
They had something to do with it? Oh,
absolutely.
Okay. Just like all those assassinations that you said the government had a hand in? All right. Anyway, let's talk about sports, man.
All right, we'll talk about sports and we'll end it.
We want to talk about those A&M.
We want to start off with college or pros?
Let's do college real quick, and then we're gonna wrap up on my Dallas Cowboys.
All right, let's start out with the college CFP. There hasn't really been a lot of movement since last week. The Aggies, okay, you got Ohio State #1, you got Indiana #2. The Aggies are still #3. And
Tom, you should be jumping for joy, man.
Say what?
Y'all should be jumping for joy for your Aggies. Why am I more excited than the two guys who went to A&M? What's wrong with this picture?
They're doing what they're supposed to do, beating teams they should be beating.
There we go again.
So what's your prediction for tomorrow?
You mean Friday?
Friday. Tomorrow. Okay, yeah, Friday. My bad.
I would say this: if the coach is doing his job, they should beat Texas because what all he has to do is number one, contain Arch Manning, make sure that he isn't doing what he needs to do on his legs, and if he puts pressure on him, Arch Manning is going to crumble. They should win. If they don't do that, then yeah, they're going to be looking real silly.
How about
So the
Texas
question:
Tech?
will you be happy if they win?
Oh,
No, I would be happy if they win the SEC championship.
Tom,
Wait, time
man, I don't
out.
want that lightning bolt to come strike you.
Let me be the.
I don't want the lightning to come strike you, Tom. But I think you would be a little happy
Okay.
for Coco if A&M lost tomorrow.
Jimmy,
Oh, Tom.
Jimmy. A&M is doing what they're supposed to do. Now, if they win the SEC championship, we can have a conversation.
But they did it because they won all these other games.
Say what?
If they win the championship, it's because they won all these other games.
But they got to get there and they got to win it.
But what I'm saying, the only reason that they would be there is because they won all these other games.
Correct. Which is what they should.
So how can you be happy if they win the championship if you're not happy about them winning all the other games to get to win the championship?
That's just like Jimmy. That is like giving somebody a medal for making up their bed. They should be winning the large majority of these games.
I've known Tommy for a long time, over 30 years. So let me tell you what's going to happen. If A&M loses on Friday, I guarantee you, the next time we do a show, the very first thing he's going to talk about is how those A&M Aggies lost. I'm telling you, it's hard now to get him to talk about football and those A&M Aggies because they win it. But let them lose a game. You see, that's the first story you want to cover.
They are winning the game. They're supposed to beat Stanford. They beat Stanford.
If they lose on Friday,
they almost messed up.
Let's talk about those Aggies. We ain't got the sports yet. No, let's talk about the Aggies. We got to talk about the Aggies. We ain't got the sports yet. That's at the end of the show. No, let's go to this comment first. You're going to want to talk about that first. I promise you.
Not so.
All right. Texas Tech. What are we doing on Texas Tech, guys?
Texas Tech, I think they're number 6 right now. So they have definitely overachieved based upon expectations.
Overachieved? What that defense?
Texas Tech? Who would have expected them to be in the top 12, Jimmy?
Man, any Texas team in the top 10, A&M, Texas Tech, do any of them deserve to be there?
The teams who are there, clearly.
What about the other teams that are in the top 10 or top 12? Do they deserve to be there, or are they just overachieving? Is Indiana overachieving?
Jimmy, who, with any intellectual honesty, would have told you that they would have expected Texas Tech to be in the hunt for a playoff this year? Who?
That's not the point.
That is the point.
They beat the team.
That is the point. Nobody would have expected Texas Tech.
You don't get the playoffs on expectations. If it was all about expectations, the Cowboys would win Super Bowl every year.
What I'm saying is they're overperforming. Just like you say, Dak Prescott has been underperforming and should have been traded a couple of years ago. Texas Tech is overperforming.
But so so with the Aggies, you say, and I guess with Texas Tech, they're beating people who they should beat. But as we know,
I'm saying the Aggies are beating teams that they should be beating, of course.
Okay, so why is Texas Tech there? Whether we expect it or not, what are they doing right?
They're winning, obviously.
But I mean, give them some credit then.
I did.
It was like a backhanded compliment.
I did. Just like I gave the Aggies credit 2 weeks ago when I said they got a coaching staff.
So here's a stat
because Jimmy, for what it's worth, most of these teams, there's very little separation now in college football, not even among the Alabamas and the Georgias and all these other blue blood teams. But when you look at teams like Virginia Tech, you look like, SMU, there's not a great degree of separation in talent. It's coming down to coaching. 2 weeks ago, I said A&M got a coaching staff, which means they got a chance because for what it's worth, they should have lost a couple of weeks ago to South Carolina. But for them to literally be able to pull themselves out of a hole, 27 points, even to a South Carolina team that ain't got no place.
And that had nothing to do with the players?
It's all about the coaches, man. The coaches got there
It's the
and
coaching.
scored all the
It's
touchdowns.
the coaching.
None of this has. So you saying you could put me out there on the field with the
No,
coaching staff that they have
no.
and win a game?
What I'm
The
saying
coaches
is,
are greatness to Heisman.
what I'm saying is, there's so little separation in the level of talent because, of course, of the player
coaching is
that allows
important,
them to move from place to place. There's a lot less separation in the level of talent between these teams, and so it comes down to coaching.
Yeah, coaching is
So
important.
it shouldn't be.
Talent is
So when you
important,
say
too.
they beating who they should beat, if there's not a lot of separation in the talent, I'm missing something. Because on any given Saturday, you can lose,
And
whether
they
you're the
should have
best team
lost
on the field.
and they should have lost 2 weeks ago to South Carolina.
But
No, they should have been behind 27 points.
They
by
should have lost
halftime.
that game.
that's that part. They
They
should not
should
have
have
been
They should not
behind.
have been behind 27 points at halftime. That's your
Right.
expectation. Anyway, let's move on to my favorite team. How about those Cowboys? You know what, Tom? Here's a stat that you guys can chew on. Oakland Raiders and the Philadelphia Chickenheads combined rush for 30 rushes for 90 yards. 2 games, Tom. This damn defense finally has a run stopper, can stop somebody. We hold 2 teams. And Saquon Barkley didn't even have rush for 2,000 yards last year. And we hold them and Oakland Raiders to 90 yards rushing combined. And that's with Jalen Hurts running for a couple of quarterback scrambles. 90 yards, Tom, 2 games. Our Cowboys may be back finally.
Back where? You think they're going
right back in the hunt? Maybe get to a playoff and do something this year. We'll see.
but Jimmy, that means they would have. Well, this is their problem, the NFC West and the NFC North, because they're going to have to leapfrog the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams, I believe, are right now leading in the NFC West. And so they're going to have to leapfrog the Seattle Seahawks, because they're not going to win the division unless Philadelphia completely implodes. And so they're going to have to leapfrog the San Francisco 49ers. They're going to have to leapfrog the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to have to leapfrog the Chicago Bears. They're going to have to leapfrog the Detroit Lions right now, because oddly enough, Chicago is leading the NFC North. They're going to have to leapfrog 5 teams. I'm not saying that they can't do it, but we'll see.
We may need some help, but that's fine. Though we may need some help. But you know what?
A lot.
If we don't make it this year, we got a whole boatload of draft picks to help get us be even better next year. But hold on, Tom.
I understand.
Didn't you just give us that whole?
It's always next year.
Hey, Uncle Sar, didn't you hear something about expectation? Who expected Chicago to be leading that damn division? Huh?
Nobody. But guess what happened? It's a coaching team. Guess what happened to the Chicago Bears? Ben Johnson. That's what happened to the Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions, now the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and people were ready to throw Caleb Williams out the door and get rid of him. Now he's looking like a legit quarterback. Ben Johnson. That's what happened to Chicago Bears.
Okay. Well, we went a little longer, but hopefully everybody got some information, got informed about what's going on. And we're going to still keep that spotlight on Tom and those Texas A&M Aggies. I think there's a little haterade.
I know. Look, I will take my hat off when they win the SEC championship. How many years has it been now? 10 years at least?
So Uncle Saul, I would expect this from you,
right,
the way they treated you. Maybe you buy a ticket to go to the game after you got hurt. I can understand that from you, but I don't understand it from Tom. I mean, really, you see what I've been dealing with for years now with him and these Aggies. When they had Jimbo Fisher, I was like, okay, maybe it is about the coach. I understand. But now you got a coach, you got
Jimmy,
still not happy.
Jimmy. I just said 2 weeks. I'm giving him a chance because of the coach. I'm giving them a chance because, and they all got talent. SEC's got the best talent in the country, but that's why it's very hard to get there. And that's when I said they got a coach. They got a coaching staff.
So at the end of the season, let's say they lose tomorrow or the next game or whatever.
Texas.
Will you give them credit at having a extremely good team this year?
Absolutely, I will.
Okay.
They do, and they have. They have a very good team. Now,
He coming around, Jimmy. He coming around.
I wanted them, unfortunately, this year, I wanted to see them go against the Georgia, Alabama, or Ole Miss. I want them to run through at least one or two of the gauntlet teams, and LSU, South Carolina,
Well,
none.
I have another question, and I guarantee you the answer is going to be no. I will bet $100 to a penny that the answer is going to be no. Or as they say down in my old South Dallas neighborhood, Ghana, no. If A&M win this last game, go undefeated for the season, will you then put your Texas A&M ring back on?
No, because it has nothing to do with the football team.
They're giving her an award.
I know they did, but that was them, not the school.
The school gave her $1 million.
$1 million.
Bro,
Not to take the job.
no, they
Not one day in the office.
$1 million salary because they worked.
You get $1 million to walk away.
They gave her $1 million. They gave her $1 million just to go away.
Yeah, that's what I said, to go away and not make a fuss. But they can give me $1 million to go away and not make a fuss too. And but I'll still say good things about it.
You gotta have high self-esteem. She should have stayed in that fight and made them look bad.
I could buy a lot of esteem time for $1 million. Whatever self-esteem I've lost, I'm fighting for $1 million.
She should have held out for about $4 or $5 million and just kept it stink. Yeah, she should have held out for about $4 or $5 million. Look, Jimmy, if they could afford to pay Jimbo Fisher $80 million to go away,
but it wasn't the school money. It wasn't the school money.
I know it, but they can still find the money if they want to. They can find the money. They're sitting on $1 billion. They're sitting on $1 billion. They're sitting on $1 billion.
Journalism departments around. So I'm thinking, maybe she didn't want the job, but it's not like she's gonna be unemployed. She's gonna be a Kaepernick.
She went back
to go land with.
She went back to Texas, but it's just
with $1 million check. Ain't no job back. God, boy, that seems like that don't seem like she's too much of a victim to me. But you keep it going, brother. Don't wear the ring.
She part of that black bourgeoisie.
Hey, bro.
But notice you're not wearing the ring, but she cashed the check. You're not wearing the ring in protest, but she cashed the check and moved on her life. She could have gave the check back in protest.
Principles.
Yeah, principles. Anyway, Tom, let's close this out, man. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back next week after Thanksgiving, and everybody can talk about what they had. I know your mother and your aunties are gonna be cooking up a big spread.
Oh yeah.
So, how about you, Uncle Sar? You cooking or you going to family? You said you don't celebrate.
No,
that's right. He doesn't celebrate.
Okay, I understand.
I don't celebrate it either, but I am gonna go eat.
Okay.
I don't have anywhere to go.
We'll all just talk about what we ate
for what it's worth, in intellectual honesty, we, the three of us know, unfortunately, what the commercialization of Thanksgiving is really celebrating. That's almost a complete decimation of the indigenous and original Americans, which is, a shameful overlay of the sanitization of the almost genocide and extension of an entire culture of people.
Had to be done, time to build a nation. So anyway, let's close out.
A capitalist nation, right?
Yeah.
All that being said, we want to thank everybody who
benefits from that capitalist system now.
We want to thank everybody who hung in there with us. And Miss Tanya said hello as well. She's on for whatever reason. She cannot type in the chat line, so we want to thank her for joining us this evening as well. In addition to Brother Frederick V. Roberts and Cousin Audrey K. Want to thank our good friend and brother, Uncle Asar, for being back with us on the chat line and livening up the conversation today. And folks, we hope you have had a good time. We hope you have learned something new and had a good laugh this evening, just as we did. For those of you who do celebrate the holiday, be safe. Enjoy your time with your family and friends. Have a great weekend. And of course, look forward to seeing you next weekend, because if it is Wednesday night,
it is certainly Black Man Speak.
Good night, everyone.